So you find yourself feeling out of control with food, Googling how to fix it, wondering what's wrong with you, and wondering what you're doing wrong. Let me tell you what is happening. So I'm Danny. I'm a licensed mental health counselor specializing in eating disorders and a body image and binge eating coach. I've been working with women who struggle with eating disorders for more than 12 years now, and I'm creating a series called Breaking the Binge Cycle so you can finally learn how to feel in control around food. So let's get started.
And this is what we're going to be going over in this video. So we're going to be going over the difference between binge eating, emotional eating, and overeating, food guilt, the difference between just not dieting and actually finding food peace, and then how all of this impacts your relationship with food. So let's get started.
All right, here we have the three. We have binge eating, emotional eating, and overeating. So now what I do like to say is that binge eating and emotional eating and probably overeating probably serve a function for you, which I'm going to talk about in my next video in the series. But let's first learn the difference between all of them because they're not the same. So binge eating, you eat large amounts of food in a short amount of time, and you can end up feeling very uncomfortable and you feel very out of control. So, even if you're not hungry, you turn to food and it feels insatiable. So, it's impulsive, it's fast. A lot of times it's in secret, and the cause of this is because you have an unmet need or probably several unmet needs, right? So it feels very out of control, very impulsive, very rushed, and you can eat whatever it is. It's not like a craving that you're like, oh, I want some ice cream. You have some ice cream and then you move on. No, some people end up binging on oatmeal, peanut butter, butter sticks. Like it just depends on what you have at home. The food doesn't dictate the binge, okay? Then we have emotional eating, which the name says it. It's using food to cope with your emotions. So the amounts that you eat depend, right? I also want to pinpoint there's emotional eating in happy events too. So a lot of people say like, oh, I'm stressed and I eat. But think about like also when you're happy, oh, I got a promotion, so I go out to dinner, or I'm at a birthday party, so I have some cake, even if I might not want it, right? Like emotional eating isn't only linked to stress or quote unquote negative emotions. So the amounts of food that you ingest depend. You can eat even if you're not hungry. It is satiable. So you do feel satiated. Maybe you'll eat past fullness, but the urge and the craving is satiable as opposed to binge eating when it just feels insatiable and like you just can't stop regardless of how full you are. It can be impulsive, and again, it's emotion related, be it happiness and excitement or sadness, loneliness, and stress. This is more socially acceptable just because of what I already mentioned. And then the reason behind this is because there's no skills to regulate your emotions. So you lack skills to regulate your emotions, and you probably lack knowledge. You probably lack the awareness of, okay, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, and this is why I'm using food, or this is what triggered me, and I need to use my following plan in order to cope with it. And then we have overeating. This is more socially acceptable, pretty much very socially acceptable. Think about Thanksgiving or holidays. The amounts, again, depend. And because it is overeating, it's eating when you're probably not that hungry. It is satiable. You end up probably a little bit full, maybe uncomfortably full. I do want to say overeating is pretty normal, right? It's just when it's chronic overeating and it feels kind of like a habit or like you don't know how to stop, that's when my clients come to me and are like, I have no idea what to do with this. It might not feel as impulsive and it's socially acceptable. And then it could be due to distraction or extreme hunger, depending on the person. But let's say you go out to eat dinner and you're distracted, you're having fun, you're talking to people. It's going to be harder for you to be like, I'm comfortably full right now. I can end eating, right? No, you're going to be having fun. There's like fun desserts coming, there's fun foods. So those are the typical times when overeating happens. It's totally fixable, totally able to stop and be mindful. It's just applying the correct skills. And then the extreme hunger, it could be caused due to extreme hunger. So if you skip breakfast and it's 2 o'clock and you haven't had anything to eat, it's very normal for your body to be like, I need food. And then it's very easy for you to overeat because your body is begging you to eat. All right, so this is the difference. I want you to think where you land in these three. It could be all of them. It could be just overeating. It could be just binge eating. Think about where you land. So I do want to clarify something. It depends on what behavior you use, but if you feel guilt after you eat, then there's something to work on, right? Guilt is an emotion that tells you that you feel like you did something wrong. So this means that when you eat, you feel like you're doing something wrong, but you didn't hurt anyone. You just ate food, right? So start to pay attention to whether you feel guilty after eating or before eating, and start to see why, because this is something that you want to work on. And this guilt and seeing food in this way actually prevents you from seeing nutrition in a neutral way. So this guilt keeps you stuck in like diet culture and the diet and binge cycle, right? So if you feel guilty after eating, let's say that I had a cupcake yesterday for dinner, and I wake up and I say, I'm going to skip breakfast because I had a cupcake yesterday, right? Then I start to feel overly hungry, and then I eat a salad for lunch because I say that cupcake still has too many calories. I'm going to restrict in lunch and I'm just going to have a salad. I feel not satiated, I don't eat enough, and then at night, food feels out of control for me. Maybe I end up binge eating, maybe I end up overeating, right? But this guilt has a role in your behavior, okay? The less guilt that you have and the more that you work through those beliefs and whatever comes up from this guilt, the easier it's going to be for you to see nutrition in a neutral way. So what do I mean by this? A cupcake can just be a cupcake, and a salad can just be a salad, right? When we see a cupcake and we say, oh my God, it's too many calories, oh my God, I'm going to gain weight, the worst thing is going to happen, right? That increases your stress, maybe some anxiety. And then this is going to dictate how you view that cupcake and then what you do after you eat it or not eat it, right? So the more that you see a cupcake as a cupcake, like I said, or a salad as a salad, the easier it's going to be for you to be mindful and actually say, do I want this cupcake or not? Right? Do I want to eat a salad? Do I want to eat a sandwich? Do I want to eat a cupcake? Am I hungry? Do I not want to eat? Right? But the more mindful you're going to be able to be, and you're going to be able to see nutrition in a more neutral way, meaning I feel like I need some more protein in this meal. Maybe I can add some veggies here. I'm going to need a carb so that I can feel satiated throughout my day. Now, I have a lot of people that come to me and they're like, there's something wrong with me. This is all my fault. I can't believe I keep doing this. I can't believe I haven't been able to stop binge eating, emotional eating, or overeating, right? What I want to tell you is this is not your fault. This isn't about discipline. This is a learned behavior that has a function for you in your life. Okay? So I want you to stop seeing that as it's my fault, and I want you to start to see it as this is a learned behavior for me that plays a function in my life. Now, we already talked about the difference between binge eating and emotional eating, etc., and we talked about the different factors that might impact each one. So I want you to say, instead of this is my fault, this is happening because there's an unmet need. Instead of this is my fault, I can't believe I ate emotionally today, this is happening because I haven't learned how to deal with my emotions or the loneliness that I was feeling or the stress that I was feeling after a long day, right? So the more that you start to let go of the guilt and start to change that mindset, the more open you're going to be to learning and actually learn the things, right? So if you're chronically overeating, and you're stuck in this guilt cycle and you're stuck blaming yourself, it's going to be that much harder for you to eat enough throughout the day so that in the end of the day, you don't trigger the overeating again. So the more that you're able to see the difference, see where you land in overeating, emotional eating, or binge eating, the more information you're going to be able to be open to see what is causing this behavior. What function does it have in your life? And the more awareness you're going to be able to get when it does happen again. Now, there's a difference between not dieting and eating mindlessly and actually healing your relationship with food. So one is just being able to let go of diet culture, let go of the food rules, which is amazing. But there's a difference between that and actually being able to be mindful, being able to feel at peace at dinner, be able to pack your lunch without thinking twice about it, applying nutrition, and just not going into a spiral or feeling guilt after eating. So one is just being able to let go of diet culture, and the other is knowing exactly why you binge and exactly what to do about it in order for you to be mindful and at peace and just feel effortless around food. So it's about actually finding the root of the issue and tackling it face on instead of continuing to feel guilty, not know what to eat, feel embarrassed, feel out of control around food, and just having no idea what to do. So that's the difference between binge eating, emotional eating, and overeating. If you feel like you relate to anything that I just mentioned, make sure you watch my Break the Binge Cycle series, where we're going to talk about how to gain more control around food, weight versus health, how to heal your body image, and how everything just impacts your behaviors around food and your body. So follow along for more.